Sam Gleaves. He's a good friend of ours, friend of the family, his whole family, and he's a wonderful bluegrass picker, and I encourage you to go on iTunes and buy his album. Ain't We Brothers Too? This is my singing bird, and he gave me permission to use it in the beginning of my videos. Thanks, Sam. Okay, now that you've heard a little bit of my friends picking, and I hope you go to iTunes and check his stuff out. He's really wonderful, and he teaches at Berea College, so we're real proud of it. I want to talk today about something that's been on my mind for a little bit: apologizing. When you make a mistake, apologize, and how to apologize and what it means and how to do it correctly. Because we hear a lot of people say, I'm sorry, oh, I'm sorry that hurt your feelings, I'm sorry it upset you, but they don't say really that they're sorry that they did it. So I want to talk about what apology actually means and go through what you need to apologize for and how to do it. So it means something, because that's what counts, you know, is whether or not you touch the other person's heart and let them know that you really are sorry. Okay, and the definition of apology is an admission of error or discourtesy accompanied by an expression of regret, as in a public apology. Okay, apologies in plural, an expression of regret for not being able to do something. Now you can say, I'm not going to be able to go, please send my apologies. Now, then also something that is said or written to defend something that other people criticize, like the book is an apology for socialism, something like that. And then apology is used as an excuse, like a poor substitute, like he's a poor apology for a father. You know, we use it like that. But what I'm talking about today is the expression of regret and apologizing for what you've done and touching the other person and trying to heal the wound that you have given them. And we all make mistakes. Now, we're all guilty of screwing up. We do things wrong, and if we're good people, we go and we make things better. We apologize and we're sincere about it. Now, the lack of a proper apology is an aggravation, an irritation, and it causes anger and pain that lasts for much longer than the initial behavior. If you don't apologize, if you hurt someone or say something or do something cruel to someone and you don't apologize for it, the person will not only be affected by the original dagger to the heart or, you know, punch to the jaw or whatever you've done, but they're also going to have lingering anger and possibly hatred, you know, because you didn't apologize. So it makes it double as bad. Okay, you double the pain when you don't apologize for something you've done wrong. It could be an offensive action in speech. You can have a behavior. You can have all sorts of different things that will affect people. There are different ways that we can screw up and hurt people, but some of the things that you or I can or may have done and that should be apologized for is, of course, any act of violence. We know not to lay hands on anyone at any time. You know, I talk about this. We don't spank our kids. We don't hit people. We don't punch our neighbor. We don't punch our friend. But if for some reason you have, you need to apologize for it. You need to sincerely apologize for it, because that's a big one. You don't put your hands on somebody. No kind of violence. And even accidental violence, like if it's an accident, you know, if you cause someone pain, physical pain, you should apologize for it. And then, of course, there's violence. That's violence. Disrespect in speech. This is one that happens so often. And, you know, we don't talk to others like we wish to be spoken to. You know, the golden rule is do unto others as you would have others do unto you. A lot of times in speech we don't do that. All we're thinking about is winning the argument, or, you know, the battle or the fight, or getting our point across, no matter how hard it is. Let me take a sip of my Gatorade here. My mouth's getting a little bit dry. The disrespecting speech, it can be something said that you've said either directly to the person or behind their back. Listen, just because, and you hear this a lot, if I have something to say, I'll say it to your face. Well, if it's mean and ugly, you don't need to say it anyway. You don't need to say it behind their back. You certainly don't need to say it to their face. You need to shut up. You know, if you're saying things that are mean, stop. You know, it doesn't make you any better person that I'll say it to your face. That just makes you a bigger asshole. Don't be an asshole. But either way, it's offensive. And then there's offensive things that you say and things that you hurt people's feelings with. But then there's a whole other class of things that are below the belt that honestly, an apology is just not enough. You know, when you really hurt someone with a below the belt dig, it takes 10 times doing something really good for them for that pain to ease, because we remember the things that hurt us 10 times as much as we do a good thing. If someone tells you you're fat, they can tell you you're beautiful, you smell good, you're smart, and all this, but it takes at least 10 compliments to get over that one. You know, you're kind of fat. And if you think of all the things that you say to people and that you have said to you, think about what people have said to you and what you remember the most. You know, we don't forget the hateful things. And the below the belt things, I want to mention some of them because I've seen these in the last few months, and it breaks my heart because people can't get along if you talk to one another like this. It's almost beyond apology. Bashing or shaming someone for physical appearance, calling them ugly, you know, fat, too skinny, anorexic, whatever. Bashing their physical appearance, their income level, their mental capacity, whether they're smart or, you know, maybe average intelligence or below average intelligence. You don't bring that up. You don't hurt somebody talking about, you know, how smart or how stupid they are. You don't say that. We learn that as children. And if someone has a mental illness, you certainly don't use that to hurt them. You know, if they've got a diagnosed mental illness, you know, that's a sore spot. That's something that, you know, you can't help. If I'm suffering from anxiety and you're making fun of me because I have it, that's just beyond cruel. It's not like I could help it, you know. Anything that's out of someone's control to change, their income level. If they don't make a lot of money, or they don't have a lot of money, or their parents don't have a lot of money, or they don't live in a big house, or maybe they do live in a big house, but they don't do anything. You can't bash someone for having too much money, or not having money, or what they do with their money. You know, that's not something that you can use in a debate. You just look like a fool. You look like the jerk if you bring that stuff up. Racist comments. Don't do it. Don't ever bring up race. We have too much racism going on, and, you know, people of color, you know, African American, Latino, Asian, white. It's possible for you to be racist no matter what you are. If you are trying to bash someone for the color of their skin or their race or their country of origin, that's racist, okay? Or their religion. Don't ever bring that up. If you're in a debate or discussion or you're talking with someone, and don't ever use that to insult someone. That's beyond the pale. This next one, I've seen it happen, and not too long ago, and this is another below the belt. Bringing family or children up in a negative way, or insulting the way the person parents, the mother or the father. You know, you don't take digs at someone's parenting. Everyone tries the best they can, and they get as much help as they have available to them. You know, everybody wants to be a great parent. Nobody goes into being a parent and says, I want to be a crappy parent and, you know, not take care of my children. Don't ever bring children up in an argument. Don't bring family up. You can't help who you got for parents, or brothers and sisters or cousins or whatever. Family's off limits. And then this one too, I've seen this happen, and it gets under my skin. It breaks my heart for the person, and then it gets under my skin that it's even brought up. But saying that something that happened to the person in the past, like sexual abuse, domestic violence. Sorry, I'm getting tweeted left and right. I can't help it, sorry. Saying something that happened in their past, like sexual abuse, domestic violence, etc., is either a lie or was deserved. I've seen that happen too. Somebody, you know, I saw a discussion. A woman had been abused by her husband, and she was talking about it, and someone who was just being a jerk decided to say, well, you must have done something. You must have done something, or he wouldn't have hit you. Well, that's not necessarily true. In fact, there's no excuse for anyone having hands put on them. And to say something like that, no. No. Y'all know who I make fun of doing that. Who does it. I swear this is driving me crazy. Name calling. Calling somebody, you know, a whore or the C word, or, you know, a bitch, or all these different names, you know, that we call each other when we're angry. You know, you've got to pull back on that. There are some words that you just don't call people, you know, and you don't know the words, and I don't need to repeat all of them, but seriously, name calling in a debate or an argument is just, it's childish. Even children know better, you know, and we as adults should know better. Shaming someone for their sexual history, calling them a slut, prostitute, you know, whatever. No one's sexual history should have anything to do with an argument or a debate or discussion that is going on now, you know, in the present tense. That's off limits. Don't do it. You know, just don't do it. I mean, if you're having a discussion because someone was arrested for, say, prostitution or something like that, and it's a discussion about that, and it's not, you know, it's not false or meaning to hurt them, you know, say a celebrity got, like the sexual harassment stuff is what I'm talking about. You know, the different people who've been accused of sexual harassment, you can have a discussion about that, but don't go off calling people, you know, names or accusing them of things that, you know, has happened in their past or may not be true. It's none of your business, and it doesn't belong in an argument. Okay, that's not how we get our point across. That's not how we talk to other people. If you've made an honest mistake, and we all have made mistakes, and like if you thought someone was not telling the truth, and you go to some of your friends and go, you know what, I think they're lying. I really do. And I've been guilty of this. If you think someone's lying and then you find it and you realize that they were telling the truth, you not only have to apologize to the person, but you also have to go and tell everybody that you've told that you were wrong and that you have apologized to the person. You need to make a public apology. You need to make sure everyone knows that you were wrong and that you regret it. See, regret, that's the key thing to making a good, honest apology. You have to recognize what you did was wrong. And I, of course, I'm looking at my notes. And unless you know and are clear on what you're apologizing for, it doesn't count. You know, my young'un used to say she was sorry whenever she did something wrong. And I would ask her, you know what you're apologizing for? And she sometimes would say, no, I just know I'm in trouble. And we would have to sit and have a discussion, because you have to know what the apology's about. You have to know what you've done wrong. And I would say, you know, are you sorry that you did it, or sorry that you just are having to apologize. And sometimes she was really sorry she did it, and sometimes she just was sorry she had to apologize. You know, you've heard kids, oh, I'm sorry, I have to apologize. When the parents say, apologize to your sister, apologize to your brother. That's the way of apologizing without really doing it, saying, I'm sorry, I have to apologize. That is along the same route of, I'm sorry that your feelings got hurt, or I'm sorry you were offended. That means nothing. You have to say, I'm sorry I did it and mean it. I apologize for my behavior. I apologize for my words. And you have to really mean it. It's not just being sorry that they were offended or got mad or whatever. You have to know what you did. And you have to really deep down understand and recognize it. You know, and the last thing, are you apologizing just to get out of trouble? I used to ask her that. Are you really sorry? Or do you just want mama to leave you alone and you not be in trouble anymore? We as adults need to ask ourselves these questions just like I asked her when she was a child. Because if we don't know why we're apologizing, and if we don't mean our apology, and if we're doing it just to get out of trouble and get people off our backs, then it's not genuine. And finally, you have to make all the efforts not to repeat it. Don't repeat the behavior. Don't do it. That's how we learn from our mistakes. We make mistakes, we apologize genuinely for them, and we don't repeat them. Now, there's a lot of people that you'll never get an apology out of. And I'm sure you all know somebody like this. They just will never admit that they're wrong. And it's sad because, you know, they think that an apology or admitting that they have guilt or they're at fault, they think that means they're weak, but it doesn't. If you can own up to your behavior and you can face the person that you've wronged and apologize sincerely and make an effort never to do it again, that takes strong character. That says a lot about who you are. And people will have a lot more respect for you if you have humility and honesty and you're able to humble yourself when you're wrong. That gets you a lot farther than false pride. And we all know what they say about pride, you know. So we want to build ourselves into better people. Every day that we're here on this earth, we're trying to become better people, better to others, better to ourselves, you know, better to the world around us. And part of that is learning to take responsibility for our wrongs, apologize for them, and not repeat them. Okay? Now, that's my lesson for today. And I love you. You love you. Make sure you hit that subscribe little red button down there, that tab, and the bell beside it, so you get all the notifications of when I post. And come on back and see my videos. I love you. You love you. You take care of yourself. Bye.